video I'm going to show you how to create a spreadsheet model for a mobile phone shop. Basically, the person who's using it will be able to enter the budget of the customer in this cell, select what type of phone they want, what features they want from the phone, and then it'll tell them whether with this budget they can afford the phone here. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the budget, just so I've got some dummy data. So 3,200. I'm going to do this in dirhams, which is UAE currency. If I type in 3,200, you'll notice that it's not a currency, it's just set as a number. So the first thing I need to do is right click on this cell, format the cell, and change it to currency. I'm going to be using AED again, which is the currency for the United Arab Emirates, and I want it to 2 decimal places. So I've got 0.00. Press OK, and automatically it puts in the AED for me, 3,200. So if I ever want to change this, let's say I type in 3,100, press enter, and it puts in the AED for me. I'm also going to change the format of this cell, purely because I know that this is going to store a currency as well later on. So same thing again, AED, press OK, and these cells as well will also contain the currency. So format cells, currency, AED. There we go. Okay, so again, we'll use these later on. Now what I need to do is I need to use one of the first new tools that we're introducing in this video, and the tool that we're going to use is called a combo box. Basically, it's going to be a drop-down box that we put in here that will allow us to choose from the different 3 phones that we've got available. So in order to do that, we need to have a combo box, and in order to have a combo box, you need this developer tab here in the ribbon. And if you haven't got that, click on the start button of Microsoft Excel, click on Excel options, and make sure that in the popular tab, this box here is ticked, show developer tab in the ribbon. Press OK, and the developer tab will be there. Now that you've got that, you need to insert a combo box, which is this one. Make sure that you insert it from the form controls and not the ActiveX controls. You can see there's the same symbols here. Make sure you use this one. So once I click on that, my cursor changes to a cross. I can draw a little box here, which creates for me my combo box. Now, if I right click on this combo box and go to format control, it gives me a variety of different options that I need to, or properties that I need to set for that combo box. And the first one is input range. Basically, I need to choose a range of data to populate this combo box with. And at the minute, I haven't written a range of data. So I'm going to do that before I change any of the properties. So I'm going to write the text that I want to populate this with in a different tab. So I'm going to go to my data tab, and in here I'm just going to write Nexus, iPhone, and BlackBerry, like that. Go back to the order tab, right click on the combo box again, format control, and now I can populate this combo box with a range. So I click in here, make sure I'm inside the input range, go into my data tab, you can see it's starting to write where the data is, select the 3 fields that I want. That will work now. So if I then go to cell link, let's not make this too confusing. Basically, I need to figure out which option is being chosen from this list, okay? And the spreadsheet needs a number to say, well, look, it's either the first, the second, or the third option in the list. So the cell link is where it will put that number. Is it the first, second, or third? So I'm just going to put cell link as the cell that this is going to be on top of, which is there, B5. Yep. And then this is how many lines do you want to appear? Well, I've only got 3 options in the list, so I'll have 3 lines. Press OK. And you can see what that has done is if I click on this combo box now, I've got the 3 options that are in the data tab. If I click on Nexus, you can see that it's put the number 1 in cell B5. If I click on the iPhone, it's put number 2, BlackBerry, it's put number 3. So this cell is letting me know which of these has been chosen. Now that's really important because of what we're going to do next. But here's a bit of advice to start with. If I want to now select this combo box, you can see that if I click on it, it doesn't let me select it. I can only choose from it. And if I want to edit the properties of this, I need to select it. So what you do is you right click on this. If you right click on it, it selects it, and then I can go to Format Control. Yep, if I want to resize it, I right click on it. Then once I've got this menu up, I left click on it, like that, and I can resize it. So what I'm actually going to do, look, is I'm going to cover up that number with my combo box, like this. So you will never actually see that number as a user, but I do need to use it later. And here's why I need to use it. I need a function here that says, right, whatever, I'm just going to extend this so you can see this. Whatever number appears here, go and choose the price of this option from this data. Don't worry, it sounds very confusing, but what I need to do before I put the price in here is put the prices next to each of these. So for the Nexus, I'm going to charge 2,800, iPhone 3,100, and BlackBerry 2,700. I also need to label these with numbers 1, 2, and 3. You'll see why in just a minute. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this range of data. I'm going to be referencing that range of data in this cell. So rather than think about calling it A2 to C4, I can actually give it a name. So I select the data, go to Formulas, and I define a name for this range of data. I'm going to call it type of phone. There we go, press OK. Now that range of cells has got a name called type of phone. So I can refer to these cells as type of phone. And that's what I'm going to do now. Because I'm going to put a function here that's a very complex function called a Vlookup. I'll walk you through it. So if I click on the cell, click on my functions button, I want to use the Vlookup function. Go to all, click on here, type in Vlookup, and here's what we're doing. Basically, what I want to do is I want to look up that value, the number 3 here, look. So whatever value appears in B5, I want to look up that value in an array, which basically means look it up in this range of cells. And you can see, look, rather than put A2 to C4, it's called it type of phone because that's what I called it. So it will look for the number 3 in here. And you can see that it'll find it there, look. There is a number 3 here. What it will then do is you can say, right, well, if I find number 3, what do you want me to return from that table? Let me just go back. So I'm saying if you find that number 3, I want you to return for me whatever appears in the 3rd column next to that number 3. So this is the 1st column, this is the 2nd column, this is the 3rd column. So I'm going to say return the column index number 3. That'll return the 3rd column's value that sits next to this number 3. Okay, so press OK, and there you go. So what that's doing now is it's saying, go and have a look for this number 3 inside here, and then return for me the 3rd column of this, 1, 2, 3, which is that number. So if I go and change this look, so this, by me choosing from this combo box, it changes this number. So if I choose Nexus, that changes to a 1, which means that this is saying, go and find the number 1 inside here, and return for me the 3rd column next to that number 1. So this is the 1st, this is the 2nd, this is the 3rd, so it should return that number. And it has, look. Do it again, iPhone, so it's now the number 2. Go and find the number 2 in here, it's there. Return for me the 3rd value, the 3rd column, 1, 2, 3, there. That's what it's done. That's what a VLOOKUP does. It's a very clever function. And the only rules that you really need to know is that your data has to be labelled in ascending order in the 1st column. So this has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can't be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can also use letters to ascending order, so A, B, C instead of C, B, A. So that all works. I'm going to shrink this so you can't see that number 2, like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another new feature from the Developer tab, and I'm going to insert this, which is a checkbox. Click on that, and I'm now going to have a checkbox here where the user can say, right, well, what features do you want on your phone? Do you want 3G? And if they tick that box, then I want a price to appear here. Okay, so this is how you do it. Once you've created that, once you've created this checkbox, right click on it, go to Format Control, and again it's got its own properties. You want to start with it unchecked, and you say, right, cell link, as in, I need the spreadsheet again to know whether that's been ticked or not. So what I'm going to do actually is just shrink this a little bit. The cell link is going to be here. Alright, so just like we had a cell link for the combo box, we're going to have a cell link for the checkbox. Right click, Format Control, cell link, this cell. And I'll have 3D shading on this, I think. That's okay. Now let's have a look what's happened here. Now, if I just make sure the font that I've got here is black, which it is. If I tick this box, then the cell link says true. If I untick this box, it says false. So if this is ticked, it's true. If it's unticked, it's false. Yeah, makes sense? Right, what we can then do is in here, we can say, right, if this cell is false, then put 0 amount of money. If it's true, which means if this is ticked, then I can charge you more money here. Yep, so watch. I'm going to do another function. It's going to be called an if function. It's actually called an if statement. I'm going to say logical test. If this cell here equals true, then set the value of this cell here to, let's say, for 3G, I'll charge you an extra 100 dirhams. And if it's false, 0. So I'm saying if that's ticked, put 100 dirhams in here. If it's unticked, which means that it says false in there, then put a value of 0. That's okay. So if it's ticked, it says 100. If it's unticked, it says 0. Because this cell is saying, if that says true, then put 100 dirhams in here. If it says anything else, then just put 0. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to follow the exact same procedure, but we're going to add some more features. So let's do another one. Developer, insert, checkbox. This time I'll have Wi-Fi. Right click, Format Control, cell link is this cell, 3D shading, yes please, okay, let's check it, there we go, yep. Now then, because I've got a formula here that says if B12, which is saying if this one equals true, then put 100 dirhams, else if it equals anything else put 0, I can use this fill handle, use relative referencing, drag this down, and now this one says if this cell, if B13 equals true, put 100. Yeah. What I could do is I could say, well, for Wi-Fi, it's going to cost you an extra 50 dirhams. Yep. So if it's ticked, it means you want Wi-Fi, it's going to be an additional 50 dirhams to your tariff. If you don't want it, it's not going to cost you anything. Alright? I'm just going to add one more thing on here, but I want you to add a few more, or your teacher will ask you to add a few more. So another combo box. Oops. Insert combo. Oh, sorry, checkbox. What should I add on here? Unlimited SMS. Right click, Format Control, cell link, 3D shading. Okay. Click on this, drag it down, the fill handle, and for a limited text I'm going to charge you an extra 200 dirhams. So if it's ticked, it says true, so it's going to charge you an extra 200. If it's unticked, it's nothing. Now, this looks a bit of a mess, so what I want to do is I'm going to put this on top of here, like that. Problem with that is you can still see the word false. So if you click on this cell and just change the font colour to white, you'll no longer see that. So change the font colours of these to white and you won't see what that says. You can simply put these, I can use my arrow key look to carefully place these, like that. And now it's looking pretty good. Again, if you want to select these, you have to right click on them, just like you do on the combo box. And then click on them with the left mouse key to then select them afterwards. So right click, and then left click. And let's check see if this works. It's all good. Obviously you can add more features by just following the same path. And then what I'm going to do in the current total cost here is I'm going to say this cell, I'm going to just type in a very simple formula, equals this cell plus this cell plus this cell plus this cell. Press enter. So my current spend is 3,450 dirhams. This value, add these three values. If I untick this box, it subtracts 100 from here because I've no longer got any value here. Untick this one, see, untick this one, see, and if I choose a different phone, see, it goes down. Now all I need to do is add some conditional formatting here to say if this value is greater than this value, then this turns to red. If it's equal to or less than this value, turn it to green, which means I can afford it. So you should know how to do that. Click on the cell, conditional formatting, manage rules, add a new rule, and I would say on this cell here, if the cell value is greater than this cell value, then format me to red. So indicate that I can't afford it. Okay, add another new rule and say if the cell value is less than or equal to this value, format turn me green. Press OK, press OK, press apply. Here you can see that I can afford the Nexus with no additional features. If I have the Nexus and Wi-Fi, I can afford it. Nexus with 3G and Wi-Fi, I can afford. Nexus with 3G, Wi-Fi and unlimited SMS, I cannot afford. Unless I obviously change my budget. And now I can afford it. So this is a very clever spreadsheet model using some very nice additional advanced features. The very last thing that you need to do with this to make it complete is you need to make it so that the user can only click on the cells that he or she needs to edit. So I only need to be able to click on this one, this, and these. Yeah. And to do that, it's very simple. All I need to do is I right click on the cells that I want them to be able to edit, format the cell, go to protection and untick this box like that. So this cell is unlocked. Every cell on a spreadsheet is automatically set to locked for protection. Yeah, so I'm unlocking the ones that I want people to be able to select. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger and select this cell, right click, format cells, protection, and untick that. Okay, do the same with these three, format cells, untick that box, press OK. To move this back so you can't see it. Now, so cell B5, cell G2, cell B12, B13, B14 are all unlocked. Yeah, and everything else is locked. So if I click randomly on one format cells, you can see this is locked. Now what I need to do is I'm going to go to the Review tab at the top in the ribbon, and I'm going to protect the sheet. And when I protect the sheet, I get all these options. Yeah, and what I want to do is it'll probably come like that. What I want to do is I want to make it so that allow all users of this worksheet to only be able to select unlocked cells. So they should only be able to select the ones I've just unlocked. Press OK. Now if I try clicking on any cell, I can't, apart from this one, I can click on and I can change it. Yeah, this one I can change, this one I can change, this one I can change, this one I can change and click on, but I can't click on any other cell. Very good. Yeah, so that's it finished. You can also do some fine tuning. For example, you can go to View, take off the formula bar, the headings, the grid lines, and make it look nice and pretty. Okay, that's it.